road and pee, and he would pee, and the pee would fly over the hood of the car. You know, and see who could be the farthest. I mean, but he was a fun guy, and I certainly miss him. And I was telling his son right here that he grabbed me in the Battle Royal and told me today you're going to learn how to throw a punch. And he grabbed me in the Battle Royal and backed himself up and says, "Okay, throw a punch." So I was young, I was scared. The potato Harley Race, I knew how tough he was. So I threw a punch, and he says, "Lay it in, you pussy." So I guess I threw a better punch, you know. But you know, to me, wrestlers throwing a punch is losing your fear of really potatoing somebody. And I learned how to throw a punch, and I miss it.
When you were young like that, you said you were young at that point, but you knew who you were in the ring with. What's that feel like? I mean, you're standing next to somebody that everybody in the wrestling world knew and respected. What was that like in those days?
Well, everybody respected the man. I mean, he had everybody's respect, and if you didn't respect him, he made you respect him. I mean, just the look that he would give you. But you know, to me, I was like a little mark. You know, it was just an honor to be in his presence. You know, it was like when he came to the WWF, I had a pretty good position in the WWF, and you know, he was the king. You know, and he deserved to be the king. You know, he was the man in our era. I mean, most of my career, he was the heavyweight champion for the NWA, and you know, I don't know how many hour Broadways he had, but he could go an hour, you know, pretty much every night of the week. Yeah.
That's amazing. All right, it's Mario Savoldi, the great promoter who only made one mistake in his entire promotional career. He put me on TV. But anyway, here he is, and he's got a story for you. How about it, Mario?
Funny story with Harley and Terry Funk. We're in Amarillo. They're going to do a Broadway, right? I'm refereeing. And I get told in there, this is a 90-minute Broadway. And I said, what the hell is a 90-minute Broadway? And they just went through the whole thing like it was a piece of cake. There was only one guy that was in trouble, me. I was running out of breath, and they just kept going and going. Those guys were unbelievable. They were unbelievable workers. There's nobody in the business like those guys today. Nobody. I don't care how they can do their 72 flips off the top rope on one side. But with you, what they did is, we talked about this earlier, what they did that can't be done today is grab one hole and keep those people in those seats screaming and yelling in one hole. And they did it. They knew when to let the guy get up, and the people would go crazy, and they'd go right back down to the same hole again. And everybody sat back down again. And this went on for not minutes, sometimes for a half hour. They would just grab that one hole and work it. They knew how to work the crowd. They don't know how to do that today. If you don't do 17 flips, you don't have to practice. 12-foot ladder. Yeah, right.
Didn't he do some 90s too? 90-minute matches every time?
Every time under and before I'm picking, they call the place up. And they said, "I'm just coming from town. You're ready to make some boat covers." But Michael, remember that now, Johnny? But when he take Andre anywhere he went, we had this big '76 Eldorado Cadillac going on the kid. And Danny get in the car, and Andre would still have to wedge into this big yacht he was ever driving. And he wouldn't start the car until Andre put $1,000 on the back because he knew his seat. So, Andre, boss, just distracted. He landed on it, put him on the dashboard, and take him, put it in his pocket, start the car. They wasn't going anywhere. Big son of a bitch. Dad had him over his head the first time, 1978. And Andre's the boss, put me down. Boss, put me down. Hank said, shut up, you big son of a bitch. Someone's got to take a picture of this.
Anyway, let us put an end to the rumor that Hulk Hogan was the first person to slam Andre the Giant. Your dad did it first.
Yeah, long before that.
Right? And also, I see another guy that beat Hogan too, sitting right there, multiple times.
I'm about to wrestle Harley Race.
Let's find out.
At least 100.
All right. You know something? I met a lot of people in the wrestling industry when I was working for the magazines, and there's nobody I respect like Tony Atkins. How about if it's Tony? Here, take it over, Mike.
The greatest champion of wrestling was Harley Race. The reason I say that, when you wrestle most people in the business, with the exception of people like Harley Race, Tito Santana, and Ricky Steamboat, they're what you call adjustable. Harley Race could wrestle Andre the Giant and have a great match. Harley Race could wrestle Little Louis the Midget, have a great match. Because what Harley Race would do, he would adjust to your style. So whatever your style is, Harley could adjust to that, to work with you. He could work a scientific match where it's nothing but wrestling, and he could do a brawl match. Whereas a lot of people, Ric Flair is a great champion, but Ric Flair, in the fact that we say he's repetition. Hulk Hogan, great champion, but was repetition. You could almost call what they're gonna do, but Harley didn't know. Because every night, Harley had a different match. He would design a match for you. That match fit you. Now the match he had with me would be totally different than the match he had with Tito. Totally different the match he would have with, that what made Harley so amazing. But of all the great things that Harley have done, he was a great friend to me, he helped me out a lot. He wanted Ole Anderson to put the belt on me years ago. He said, Ole, I'm going to Japan now. Don't leave this kid sitting on the shelf. This kid is hot. You should put the belt on him. I would take it back when I get back from Japan. The first time I met Harley Race was in Bob Geiger territory. And I walked out, I'm young in the business, but they had a whole bunch of people, I don't know where they come from, with the long beards and the pointy hats, shotguns in the cars and stuff, showing the back of them, looking at me the way he's looking at me. So I said to myself, Harley, because Harley was saying, and I was the first man, he saw me dress a kid. Why you stay here? You should be gone by now. I said, Harley, I'm afraid to go out there for these people give me dirty looks. I tell you what, kid, you go, you tell them, you know Harley Race. I have whooped everybody in this town. He said, I have whooped everybody in this town. I wrestled Harley Race in the Army in Atlanta. Ole Anderson always trying to come up with something different. But you know, you got posing trunks that you pose with in bodybuilding. Well, you got wrestling trunks, which is a lot more coverboard. So Ole said, hey, I want you to wear them posing trunks you won that contest in. I said, Ole, they like a team or something. Oh, the people gonna love it. I want you to wear your posing trunks tonight. So I put on the posing trunks. Harley was in the ring, had his back to me. All of a sudden he turned around, he looked at me like,
Well, there's no trunks in there. And I said, well, only want me to wear these trunks. Well, them, what type of trunks are them? Them are posing trunks. This ain't no damn bodybuilding contest. This is wrestling. I thought you didn't wear your wrestling trunks out here. So I said, well, that was only one thing. So all they turn around, took off his jacket and everything, we started wrestling. We're gonna call a spot. Harley said, give me a backdrop. So I threw Harley to the rope. I bent over to give him a backdrop. As he went over, he grabbed them damn trunks and pulled them over and cut my ankle. I'm pulling my trunks back up and everything. And so I grabbed Harley in the headlock. I said, Harley, what do you do that for? He said, I want the people to see the dark side of the moon. I never wore them trunks again. But when we talk about pro wrestling, in my opinion, I have never met anybody better than Harley Race. Never. I mean, I had matches with him. I didn't know I didn't know a headlock from a wrist lock. You know, Harley said you through the match. A lot of people don't know that. Harley to make you look like $1 million. Make you look $1 million in the ring. Well, the one thing that nobody want to do with Harley Race is get in a fight with him. Y'all know Butch Reed, right? Harley Race at this time, I asked his son the other day how old was Harley when he was managing Vader in WCW. When Harley was a manager, but we was at this hotel, Delaney, the Ramada Inn, and I was there with Cactus Jack. I was a heel with Cactus Jack, and we was all sitting in the bar drinking and doing karaoke. But Butch Reed was, Butch Reed was big, huge. And then what? Then 1993, for some reason, he kept picking on Harley. But he heard a story about Harley fighting and stuff. He kept saying, hey, old man, hey, old man. Harley had enough of that old man stuff. He stood up. Butch tried to take on Harley. Harley Race, this is 93, knocked him out. Butch woke up, Harley Race knocked him out again, right there in the ball. Knocked him out twice. One punch. So you can do whatever you want to a Harley Race, just don't fight him. One time I tried to get cute with him in the ring, but he liked me. Or if he didn't, he would just whoop my ass and left it like that. He liked me for some reason, I don't know why. But he took my nipple and put it in his mouth and ground it with his teeth. He said, hey, if I bite off that nipple of yours, you can't win no more than bodybuilding shows now, can't you? And I said, no, sir. He said, well, then do what the fuck I tell you. But if you ever met him, he would get your shirt off his back. Toughest SOB I've met in my life. Love his family, love the fans. When I said autograph, I think about every autograph I said, I think about Harley Race. This is the reason why. I watched Harley say he took his time. I said, Harley, just sign it. He said, these people work this is Harley Race. I quote, these people work very hard for their money. They travel a long way to see me. These people deserve a good autograph. That's Harley. These people deserve a good autograph. You see how some people did this scribble? Harley wouldn't do that. He would take his time with every fan. Sometimes they try to rush the line through. Harley, hey, give him time to get his autograph. Give him time. People that, now the vendors didn't like it, but that was Harley. He felt that the fans were just as important as anybody in that building. They travel a long way. They work hard for their money. They deserve a good autograph. And from that day on, every time I sign somebody's autograph, I think about, even though I'm saying my name, I think about the word of Harley Race stuck in my head. These people deserve a good autograph. And if you want to move anything, great champion, good autograph, and a dark side of the movie.
Wasn't there always a story that Harley always had a gun around with him?
The what? What do you say?
God,
All the wrestlers did. See, because back in the days, we was on the road and like that. People asked me, did Harley Race carry a gun? I did too. I had a 357 Magnum, right, Tito? Big chrome. I carry a 357 Magnum without trauma. See, what happened, you be on the road. When we get paid every night, and we didn't get a check until at TV once every 3 weeks in Allentown to get a check for the big show, like Madison Square Garden, the Spectrum, all the Coliseum show. You got that because they had to have time to tally up all the money. But for the house show, like when I worked for a Mario father, Angelo Savoni, Angelo would pay me that night on a house show. So the house show, we got paid that night. So the boys is running around with $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 in their pocket. And you're on the road. You got no protection. We don't have bodyguards like most people. And the fans knew everything about the wrestling. They knew every hotel we stayed in. They knew we were going to wrestle. They knew what restaurant we went through. They knew what gym we went through. They knew everything about us. So anytime a guy wanted to rob a wrestler, we were like walking banks. We had to wait 3 weeks to get to where because every wrestler got called a base. When you states like in the WWF at the time, the base was some of the guys live in Hamden, Connecticut. Some of the guys live in New Jersey, like Tito and Mario and Slumber moved to Slumber moved to New Jersey, Morocco. But the other guys lived like Tony Guerrero and the Wild Samoan and Rocker Johnson. We stayed in Hamden, Connecticut, right by New Haven. But we had to wait sometimes 3 weeks before we see our place. During that time, you got paydays for 20, 25 days of paydays in your pocket, you know? So unless you had a nice pair of tennis shoes, you couldn't get no money from me. Now I know this about Harley, but I gotta tell this about Mario. His buddy Tommy. We was in Boston one time, and we're in the bar drinking, and I go downstairs, I get a girl, I get a pair of tennis shoes, I go upstairs. I come downstairs, I get a girl, I get a pair of tennis shoes, I go upstairs. So Mario is sitting there watching me. So Tommy is wondering what's going on. He said, Mario, that Tony, he's a sex addict or something. Every time I see him, he's taking a different woman upstairs. Mom said, he's not doing nothing with him. Tommy said, well, what the hell he doing? He said, you what? Every time he come, he got a different shoebox in his house. He said, they go upstairs, they walk on him, then he get run on, he go buy new shoes, go look for a girl that can wear them, and they go get walked on. Tommy said, oh, come on, that can't be true, that can't be true. He couldn't believe you did it. He said, no, he ain't doing nothing with him, he just getting walked on. But that was wrestling. Wrestling, people forget wrestling. You tell me.
I don't think
We're gonna go to the other side of the room. Let's go talk to the Godfather after that. Godfather, I'm coming over to see you, brother. Charles, good to see you, man.
First of all, why are you calling me by my government name?
Look, Tony Atlas has just traumatized us over there, all right? So we got to shift over here. I apologize. I've got to recalibrate. let's start with this. Talk about your tour of the museum, what you thought of the International Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame.
Unbelievable. The nostalgia that you have there and all the stuff, man, it's just great. I have a buddy that has a collection himself, man, and so I love seeing him, and I understand the importance and how expensive some of this stuff is, and rare and hard to get, from the belts to Ric Flair's robe to, you know, even George the Animal Steel's costume. But man, it's very, very impressive.
And now you're here as we're celebrating so many of the inductees, right? We've got Mario Savoldi over there. We've got Harley Race who's getting inducted. You're seeing the bronze plaques on the wall. What does it mean when you see that, you know, fellow pro wrestlers that are getting, you know, enshrined into the Hall of Fame?
I think it's great. Maybe one day I'll be up there. But no, I think it's great. It's especially the way you started it with Mankind, Cactus Jack. I call him Cactus Jack because when I met him, he was Cactus Jack in Dallas. But very impressive. Like I said, hopefully one day I'll be lucky enough to be up there.
Definitely. All right, and I know you were looking forward to seeing Tito Santana this weekend. And have your paths crossed yet? And if so, what have you guys been catching up about?
We have a good friend named John Valadashri that just came from transplant. What was it, liver, right? And we talked about that a little bit. We talked about the WWE Legends contract because I've been on it since 2003, which is about 21 years. And I was trying to find out. I think Tito's dropped off, came back on. I think he just signed again. And I think that I have been the longest running one so far that's been on a Legends contract, the longest. I'm not sure.
Let's put it out there.
It was Sergeant Slaughter and you were the only two that I was worried about. I think Sarge is still on it. And if he is, he's been on it longer than me. But that's why I was like, I got to talk to Tito. I got to find out if that's just, you know. But it's always fun catching up with people. I see Tito every now and then. Great guy.
So you had to talk to Tito to see if yours was longer than his? Oh, the contract. Thank you. We're just being clear. All right. Well, thank you very much for being here. Please, we want to encourage all the fans, come on over and see all of the great superstars that are here. Get your autographs. Make sure you stop by and see the Savoldi library, which has some phenomenal DVDs for sale. A lot of them focused on the people who are here. So you imagine you can pick those up, get them autographed by. I mean, when will you ever get that opportunity?
I hear they have an old Soul Taker tape or something over there.
Daniel, can you tell us what you got here available at the Savoldi library? What do you mean Soul Taker? Can fill in these fans. What is he talking about?
So Charles worked for South Atlantic Pro Wrestling and USWA, right? You were absolutely in South Atlantic, sir.
Jerry Lawler was 2000.
People were in South Atlantic. You tagged us Cowboy
One time. Aaron Samedi.
How much you want to put on it?
I didn't do that many.
It's getting heated in. What videos do you have of the let's raise it that way.
The real sticker was only in Memphis. That was Aaron Samedi.
Texas as well.
You have video evidence of this.
Oh, yes, sir. We have the entire South Atlantic Library and the USWA Dallas Library, as well as the library.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Me and Undertaker were a tag team in Memphis for a very short time because we went to Atlanta. What was the name of our tag team? We had a feud against Lawler, Duncan, and Mankiel.
I don't have
Death Express. That was not something you had done.
Anyone out there have Death Express on video? We're looking for
It
that.
was me, Mark Thomas. No, he wasn't. He was Master. I was Soulful.
Before that,
Something else too, like under a hood.
Texas red.
Yes. All right, so David, what do you have here for sale? What do you want to tell people to come and check out?
It's gonna be your only chance ever to get autograph. I will not be able to come.
Jump in, Joe Savoldi, if you want.
Do anything wrestling anymore. But we got autographs here. We got pictures of Mario. Harley Race, Giant, the Von Eric, Theo Santana, Trumpet Joe, best of ICW.
We just found the photo evidence.
I just found this looking for it. I always fight.
The nasty boys made me mad. They pulled a joke on me. I didn't think it was funny.
What was the joke?
I can't even say.
Oh, it was not bad.
It's something nasty. Yeah, but
They earned their name. Well, thank you so much. Let's move over and talk to Dan the Beast Severy. He's over there. Folks, come on over and see all the superstars that are here. I don't know what happened to Rita Maria, but she was here. All right, folks, while I talk to Rita, and Bob, I'm going to turn this back over to you in a minute. Folks, we did have an issue and it almost became a crisis for those who are here. If anybody was at Dynasty last night and bought a raffle ticket, I thought Rita took the bucket. Rita thought I took the bucket. We thought Mike might take the bucket, but we think the bucket is still at the Linda. So we can't fix what's broken, but what we will do is give a raffle ticket to everyone who goes to Dynasty's next show free of charge. If anybody still has their raffle tickets from tonight, we will honor those with tickets for the drawing. We'll make sure we do more chairs at the next one. We can't fix it. It is what it is. We don't want to be disingenuous. The bucket, as far as we know, is still at the Linda, and we'll be looking for it, but we want to do what's right by the fans.
If we find the bucket, we will draw the ticket. I will be going down as soon, I don't have a vehicle here to go check it now. If I can find, as soon as I get out of here, I'm going right to the Linda to see if we can find the bucket. If not, we're going to do everything in our power to make sure that everybody is compensated for this error.
And we'll encourage everybody to go to the next Dynasty show, and we'll give you one free of charge. So we get to come back and enjoy more pro wrestling. So
absolutely, and we are so sorry about this error. We had the boys who busted their butt selling the tickets. They do.
And we were all working to surprise the fans and get the Godfather there, who was literally getting off the plane, and we worked as a team to surprise everybody. And that's that's what happened. So we're going to own it. We're going to do better, but we can only do what we can do. So if that answers your question of a lot of people have been wondering about raffle tickets. It turned into a major issue. By the way, I do want to give a big recognition, Mike Lanuto, who's over there at the front door. Mike has been absolutely instrumental. Please give him a big round of applause, guys. Limited edition t-shirts available only today of these inductees. So again, a lot of these families are here, except Kurt Angle. We will be recognizing him in January. So get you that limited edition t-shirt here. And Bob, I'm going to let you interview first female referee, Rita Maria, who's ready to take the mic. Maybe she's interviewing.
I'm going to say something first. Never mind any applause for this guy, because he suspended my butt last night. I don't know who he thinks he is, and I don't know how we're going to fix it.
Most ladies your age are looking for butt suspension, so you just keep complaining about it. Bob, I'm going to turn it over to you. How am I supposed to follow that?
You know what? I'm really proud to meet you. This is a legitimate trailblazer right here. Am I right, guys? A legitimate trailblazer. Now, we all know about your problems, but I'll tell you what. I'd like to forget about that for today and just bask in your presence. And are you happy that you ever got involved in wrestling at this point?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I wouldn't trade it for anything. I don't know how many know, but the reason I got involved in wrestling is I had a younger brother who was killed in an auto accident. Wrestling was his dream. He was 18 years old when he was killed. I walked into his bedroom, found a notebook of how he was going to pay for wrestling school, what school he was going to, all the different schools. And right then and there, I decided to do it for him. So wrestling was his dream, and I did it for him. As I worked through it myself, it also became my dream. And that's how I got started. And I wouldn't trade it for anything. I met a lot of great people here. Tony Atlas is over there. Tito Santana's over there. I worked with those guys. It was like incredible. It was an incredible part of my life.
It had to have been. If you guys can get those early 80s tapes, she wasn't just a female referee. She was good. She was good. She had control ring. We stopped. You know how good you were? I forgot you were a woman.
Thank you, I think.
No, you know what I mean by that. Well, everybody was making a big deal about, oh my gosh, we got a female referee. And then after a while, once you proved what you could do, nobody thought that anymore.
Yeah, it was tough in the beginning, because in the beginning, nobody wanted me in there. But then when they figured out I wasn't going away, but not only that, I trained with the best. Well, with wrestling school, I didn't just walk in and say, yeah. I trained with Tony Altimore. Now, anybody that doesn't know who Tony Altimore is, Tony Altimore was Lou Albano's tag team partner as the Sicilians for many, many years. When they decided that wrestling was a time for them to retire, Lou Albano went into managing, and Tony Altimore went into refereeing. So he had years and years of experience as a wrestler, and then years of experience as a referee, and he's the one who trained me. And getting him to train me was a chore, because he had no intentions. That's kind of a story in itself. I got a hold of Tony through my brother's book, and called him and drove the man crazy. The man's like, nope, not training referees, nope, not doing it. And I called this man 2 or 3 times a week. Well, at this time, they didn't have call waiting, and they didn't have, you couldn't look at your phone and see who it was. So I'd call and they put me on the phone because he didn't know who it was. I drove him nuts. Finally, one week, I get this letter in the mail saying, can you come down on such and such a weekend for training? I'll be there. I get down there to find out that his school is in Passarello's Quest. Passarello's Quest is owned by Kenny Passarello, who was Mr. America in 1980, Mr. Universe in 1981. Tony invited me down that weekend because Kenny wasn't going to be around. And his intention was to work me out so hard on the weights and in the gym that I'd never want to come back. He knew Kenny wouldn't let him do that. So I get down there, and I'm there at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I worked out from 8 o'clock in the morning until 2 o'clock in the afternoon. 2 o'clock in the afternoon, we went to lunch from 2 to 3. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I was back in the gym working out on weights from 3 o'clock in the afternoon until 8 o'clock that night. I woke up in the morning and my eyelashes hurt. Okay. I couldn't move. I was horrid. It was like, I couldn't move. I couldn't walk. It was terrible. So I get to the shower and I get back to the gym, and Tony looks at me like I got 16 heads. Like, I can't believe she's here. And I walked over to him and he says to me, you remember your routine from yesterday? I said, well, I did it 500 times. Yeah, I think I got it. He says, get started. And I'm walking like, and I get on the gym and I start working out and I start loosening up a little bit. By noontime, he says to me, okay, he says, let's get in the ring. He says, let's do your first match. You ready for it? I said, yeah, you know what a sunset flip is? I do. We get in there, we get going, everything is fine. I'm yelling at him, screaming at him, doing what I have to do. It comes to sunset flip and I'm on the other side of the ring. So I did a nosedive over the top of him, went in for the count, and right then and there, Tony decided that if I came back the following weekend, he was going to train me. He said, nobody can go through all that and still do what you did and not want the business. So he finally trained me.
You know what? I actually refereed 2 matches once for Mark Tendler. Anybody remember Mark Tendler? His promotion? Bobby Piper and all those guys, and the Magnificent LaRocca, and that was Mark. But he just showed me some basics, and the only thing he told me to do was walk in the opposite direction of the wrestlers. If they're going left, you go right. If they're going forward, you go back. Give them their space, and you'll be fine.
Basically, all we want you to do is bang, 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 or count these guys out. That was it. That's all. That's the entire training I had. But obviously, well, I wasn't going to do it a second time. I passed out afterwards, after 2 matches. But once you got, well, your call up, you were in the WWF. What was that first match like? It had to be daunting.
Oh my God, my first match was insane. My first match with the actual match, televised match, worked for WWE or WWF at the time, was in Madison Square Garden. On televised. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. I was so scared. I'm used to doing these little, one South Civic Center, hold 3,000 people. You go from that to 26,000 people, your first time televised, and I'm like, okay, it's time to come home now. I was scared to death. But, the whole thing is once the match started, you forget about the people because you're so involved in what's going on in the ring and staying out of the way and doing what you need to do that it was great. It was insane, but it was great. It was my first televised match, my first match with actually as an employee of the WWF. Prior to that, I was working with the WWF, but I was assigned through New York State Athletic Commission. And my first match with that, my very first match with that was a women's tag team match. And it was in Middletown, New York, at the Orange County Fairgrounds. So that was my very, very first match. And there's a story behind that one, too.
Do you ever get the urge to put the stripes on again?
I'm sorry, what was that?
You ever get the urge to put the stripes on again, referee a match once in a while?
Yeah. Well, I put the stripes on last night.
Really?
So yeah. I didn't put the stripes on purpose last night, but a referee got knocked out, and I went in and just finished off the match for him. So yeah. But yes, I do. I think about it sometimes.
All right. Well, listen, it's an honor to meet you. We're glad you're here. Thank you so much. We'll help you have fun the whole rest of the evening tonight. Rita chatted with everybody. Yeah, I'll be at the dinner. I'll see you there. All right. Justin, leave me alone here. You left me alone. I'm gonna have to lift this thing by myself. I want to talk to somebody young and up and coming because there's younger faces on the coins in my pocket. You know what I'm saying? This is Kayla Sparks. How about a hand for Kayla? The legitimate rising star. What brings you here?
So I'm local here. I'm from Schenectady, New York, and I'm so excited to be here. Thanks everyone from the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, staff, Mike, and everyone. Happy to be here.
Get my ignorance. Where are you working now? What are you doing?
So right now I'm independent. I wrestle all over, but I've been lucky and blessed enough to be able to wrestle for WWE and AEW. So that's pretty awesome. Yeah, definitely full circle moment, and excited to be here.
Everyone seeing wrestlers are like when they start out, guys over the times going to wrestling school, 3 states over, stuff like that. Has it been fun to do that way? Has it been bullying? Has it been disappointing? Has it been opposites? Have they been really high? Tell me about the best stuff and the worst stuff you've been through.
So, as a professional wrestler, there are the highs and the lows, but a lot of so I started wrestling when I was 13 years old. I started really young. In Schenectady, New York, actually, here. It's not here anymore, it's called 24/7 wrestling. And that's where I got my break, and I started training. I wrestled for about like six years or so, and was all over the Northeast, and got my reps in and got my experience with that. And then I took a long break. I took 14 years off from having a really severe concussion. And in the summer of 2021, I came back after a 14-year hiatus, and it's been just like amazing ever since. It's been pretty blessed to be able to get my foot in the door with like places Mission Pro Wrestling. I got like Thunder Rosa runs that in Texas. I've been able to wrestle there. She was actually a big help for me when I did my debut at AEW in front of 20,000 people at the Arthur Ashe Stadium. That was pretty incredible. That was like awesome. Yeah, so I just been wrestling, local and then last year able to, continue following the game.
Thanks for talking. Congratulations on these guys. Keep our boosting on TV, that's for sure. How about Taylor Sparks over there, huh? What do we got here? Or am I gonna wrap this sucker up?
I think Dan's the only guy who's missed so far, right?
Hey, Bob Smith. Hello, Dan Sever. Nice to meet you. I understand you've been battling Phil After for years, haven't you? Didn't you fight After for the Air Office Championship belt made out of cardboard?
Oh, okay. That Bill After. Okay, you had to equate my head. It remind me every now. I'm not having a senior moment right now, but Bill After. I mean, he's just such a seedy character. I'm not certain about that there right now. He's raised up his son El Brando to follow in his footsteps. But yes, it was a lot of fun there to beat him for his cow championship belts. Championship office wrestling for the cow belt. Yeah.
Now you know Bill is getting an award. He was getting an award.
Professionals to Hall of Fame, Bill After deserves to be there. I'm sorry they can't be here, but definitely thoughts and prayers go back out to him. But rest assured, Bill will show up.
What do you think keeps you going like that?
If you do what you love, is a work. No. And that's exactly like, do I need to do what I do? No. I like what I do, and I'll keep.
The service is really bad in here, but I'm filming it with a
Did you ever
real
take it in
camera
and
too.
say, look,
Momentarily.
All the good stuff.
I don't sit there. The folks that are here talking about professional things.